and welcome to another edition right here on Rogers TV of Daytime Ottawa as we roll into the weekend together. My name is Dylan Black, and it's always great to have you here. A packed show, as always. Let's kick it off with two amazing individuals and a grizzly bear right here. It's the new edition of Canadian Geographic. We're talking about ice grizzlies. And to speak about that, Editor-in-chief from Canadian Geographic, Kylie, is with us. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
We also have Michelle Valberg. Do you really need an introduction? You're a part of this community, a photographer in residence, Canadian Geographic. Nice to have you, Michelle, on our show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Erin, how long has this publication been out?
Almost 90 years. First issue of Canadian Geographic in 1929.
1929.
So we've been making Canada better known to Canadians in the world, as I said, for almost 90 years, and focusing on great things like wildlife and celebrating the country's wildlife.
Is it mostly always focusing on wildlife?
No, we're a geography magazine, so people, places, the country's amazing geography. But what we've found over the years is that one of the topics of most interest to our readerships is the country's wildlife. Of course.
And Michelle, you've been a part of this as well for quite some time. They've sent you out all across Canada.
I've been to a lot of, every province and territory in Canada, and a year ago, Neil Ever-Osborne and I myself were asked to be the first Canadian Geographic photographers in residence, so we're pretty excited about that and very honored to be a part of the magazine.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, and you've been taking photos here in the Ottawa area, for
3 decades.
For a long time, which is great, though, because your stuff is well known, very well known.
Well, in the community for sure, and because of the exposure that I get with Canadian Geographic across the country now, people send me emails and are following me on Instagram and are commenting about seeing my work in this great magazine. So it's nice to see that my work is getting further along from just Ottawa, but across the country.
Amazing, Erin. So this edition, we're talking about ice grizzlies and more. Can you tell us about the cover story?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the main reasons that we asked Michelle to come along today is that Michelle photographed the cover feature for us, so on ice grizzlies. It's a unique a bear that you can see in the Yukon. There's very late season, they don't hibernate as early as most bears, because there's a river in the northern Yukon, has a high level of oxygen, so it doesn't freeze as early as most rivers, so the bears are still there late in the season trying to feed and catch salmon for their hibernation, and so it offers a unique opportunity to catch them covered in ice, and and then to be able to work with one of the best photographers who we work with and our photographer in residence to feature her great photography of that was an amazing opportunity.
And we're seeing some of the incredible photos. Michelle, when you look at your own work, do you say, wow, the number one, of course, it's beautiful. Number two, how did I get so close to these fellas? Was that quite an experience?
Oh, it was an amazing experience, and something that I had seen a number of years ago, and I knew that I wanted to photograph these unique bears, especially when they're covered in the ice. They're so different and incredible to be a part of that environment and to see them fishing and to be that up close and personal to these grizzly bears was a lifetime experience for me.
Were you ever in fear or danger or anything like that?
I think when you're in these situations and you're in their environment, it's very important to always be respectful to obviously those animals that are in power and control, and being very respectful means sitting low, staying quiet, not being intimidating, and bears are fine as long as they're not intimidated or scared or spooked or feel threatened in any way. So being on land and not having anything between us and the bears was a little,
Sounds like a difficult gig.
When I said, Darren, I was glad that I saw the Revenant after the visit, but it was very powerful in many ways.
Incredible. Erin, also, not only ice grizzlies, we're focusing on different animals in this.
We have a series of really great feature stories in the issue. We have a story on a 50-year-old eagle study. It's the world's longest study of a sustaining eagle population in the world. It started in the 1960s and actually sort of discovered a number of things about eagles in Canada. In the 60s, it was believed that most bald eagles were found along our coasts. This group of individuals found them in the boreal forest in Saskatchewan, and then they've studied them for 50 years, and basically they wrote a book a few years ago that's widely considered by ornithologists as the Bible of bald eagles. And many things they learned things about how to sex the animals, how to sex the birds when they're immature, which has changed the science around bald eagles. So lots of interesting stuff like that. And then, one of the other big stories that we have is around the reintroduction of bison to Banff National Park. And that's just a fantastic story when you think about reintroducing one of the nation's iconic, animals that had almost been hunted to, extinction when Europeans came to North America. And, just a fantastic story to be able to tell. And hopefully it's something that will work to be able to see, a species that means so much to the country's indigenous people, to maybe bring it back.
Michelle, are there any animals that you haven't taken a photo of that that's still sort of on your bucket list?
There are, and in Canada, I'm going to the Spirit Bear next week, actually, up into the BC rainforest to photograph the white-phased black bear. Very elusive, and in hopes that we see them, and very, very excited to be able to photograph those bears as well.
Aaron, where can we find the latest edition?
On newsstands, your favorite bookstore, anywhere. You can also go to our website, CanadianGeographic.ca, and you can get it there as well.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Aaron, thank you. Editor-in-chief from Canadian Geographic, Michelle Valberg, amazing photographer.
No, thank you.
Thank you for being on our show. Pick up the latest edition today, please. Coming up, musician busker Martin Kerr. He joins us next for an interview and a quick song on Daytime.